Example 5. Cheetahs with a unique fur pattern are referred to as king cheetahs. This first sentence is just for personal information. This doesn't tell us anything that we need to know in order to do our Punnett square. So let's go ahead and cross it off. Unnecessary. We don't even need it. That's what the SOL is going to do when you look at some of your genetics problems. They're going to give you extra information to try to trick you. Well, if this doesn't tell you anything about whether or not this is dominant or recessive, it's unnecessary information. Let's move on to the second part of the question. The allele for this fur pattern is recessive. So if it's recessive, I know that I'm going to be using a lowercase letter. So I'm going to write that down, lowercase, and then I'm going to draw a line so that I know that it refers to the king cheetahs. If my king cheetah pattern is recessive, I know that my regular pattern has to be the opposite. So my regular or normal has to be a capital letter. So let's go ahead and write that down. A heterozygous cheetah is crossed with a king cheetah. If I have a heterozygous cheetah, I know that they're going to be different. So I'm going to write the word different next to that. And my king cheetah is going to be my next parent. So this is parent number 2. In order to be a king cheetah, we already know that it's recessive, so I have to have 2 lowercase letters. So this guy is going to be homozygous recessive. So I'm going to write that down so that I don't get confused. Then the question goes on to ask, what is the likelihood or the percentage that the offspring will be king cheetahs? Before we answer that question, we have to fill in our key number 1 and then fill in our parents and then put that information into our Punnett square. So, king cheetahs. According to our question, king cheetahs are lowercase because they're recessive. So I'm going to use a T in this case. I'm going to put a lowercase t for my king cheetah, which means that my regular pattern is going to be, or my normal pattern is going to be capital because it's dominant. So I'm going to use a capital T. Parent number 1 is heterozygous, so I'm going to have 1 capital letter and 1 lowercase letter. And parent number 2 is a king cheetah. So here I already wrote that it's homozygous, recessive. Homozygous means the same, recessive means 2 lowercase. So it's going to be little t, little t. Now let's write our parents in. On the top, I'm going to put big T, little t. That's my heterozygous parent. And then on the side, I'm going to put my homozygous recessive, little t, little t. Again, I need to go ahead and fill in my Punnett square. I'm going to do the first 2 quadrants again, and then you guys are going to do the last 2 quadrants on your own and then answer the question. Remember, whatever's on the left-hand side, you bring it into the box. Whatever's on the top, bring it into the box. So in that first quadrant, I'm going to put a capital T, lowercase t. Always put your capital letters first. The next quadrant, I'm going to bring in what's on the left, a little t, and what's on the top, a little t. So in this case, in this box, I'm going to have little t, little t. Now, just like I've done on my previous examples, I want to go ahead and write in the phenotype so that I don't get confused. In this quadrant here, I have a big T, little t, so that I know that anytime I have this big guy, this little guy doesn't matter because this guy is the strongest. The capital letter's dominant. It's stronger, so you're never going to see this lowercase letter. So that represents a normal or a regular pattern. So I'm going to write normal here. And then my 2 lowercase t's represent my king cheetah. So I'm going to write king in this quadrant.